Good morning.
Hi, how are you?
Good. So this is Elizabeth. Hi, Elizabeth.
Hi.
So Elizabeth is Skyping with me from Chicago,
Correct.
right? So
Mhm.
for those of you who aren't familiar with the distance, I'm in LA. That's probably 2,000 miles away, something like that, right? So Elizabeth, when you originally had contacted me, what kinds of symptoms did you have that you contacted me about?
I think the biggest two driving factors were one, I had a repeating eczema on my chest for like the last 4 years, and it
Oh,
would it would always start in the same place and spread the exact same way and come once a month, go down, and then come back.
okay.
So that was definitely I was and I couldn't figure out what it I could and no one could figure out what it was or what was causing it. And I definitely knew then something was wrong with me if that was happening. And then the other is just the fatigue. And I knew I've been diagnosed with a hypothyroid for many years, but I was kind of always just kind of maintaining. I wasn't really probably like addressing it.
Right.
So
Okay. And
those were
you've
the
been
two.
dealing Okay, and you've been dealing with the rash and the hypothyroid and the fatigue for how long?
The rash was 4 years, and the hypothyroid's been like 9.
9. Okay. And you said nobody could figure out what's going on here?
Well, not with the rash. I really thought I just had a hypothyroid and that was just kind of it. So I didn't really kind of even necessarily question that, I suppose. The only thing I question is when I first was diagnosed, they put me on, I don't know, some sort of prescription drug. It was like a natural thing, but I actually ended up taking myself off of it after a few years
Oh,
and just tried to, you know, heal it with diet and things like that. And that actually it did help not being on that. But definitely the rash. Everyone just said it's eczema. So
okay. And you have Hashimoto's. How did you find out you had that?
you told me.
And nobody knew before that.
No.
Okay.
Mm-mm.
All right. So through finding out you had Hashimoto's, that told us you had more of an immune system problem than you did a thyroid problem.
Correct. Yeah.
And the eczema is an immune system problem more than a skin problem.
Yeah.
So it seems like that's where the missing key was, is that they were missing that component of that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so how did you find me?
That's a good question. I do a lot of just kind of education on my own, trying to educate myself through the internet, and I feel like someone that, an email I follow recommended you. So then I just started researching, and it either was in the testimonials that I watched or I think I then signed up to your emails. And there was something about you mentioned how much testing you do, and that was it for me. I just really wanted to get a lot of thorough testing done to really figure out what was going on to get a good baseline.
Right. And actually, through the testing, we had found a hidden yeast infection that nobody had known about.
Right. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that was kind of key to getting your immune system under control as well.
Yeah, I think that might have been the main trigger.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And so here we are now. You've been with me for right around 4 months, I guess.
Yeah.
Right around 4 months. And how do you feel now, percentage wise, compared to when you first started with me?
Hmm. I would say, well, the eczema's gone, the rash is gone. I hope it never comes back. I'm nervous about that, but so that's huge.
Yeah.
So I'd say about 75%, 80.
Okay.
I still think there's improvement I still would like to see,
Mm-hmm.
but it's pretty great that it's under control. And the energy is, of course, I think everyone always wants more energy, but I still would like to get a little more. But it's pretty significant. Just some small things I've noticed that kind of seemed like a huge demand on me before.
Mm-hmm.
Like walking to the train was a huge demand, and it just doesn't seem to bother me anymore. So that to me is an indicator that the energies, is back.
Right. Right. Great. Did you have any I guess, reservations or skepticism about working with somebody long distance?
Not long distance because you had a pretty, your regimen was like pretty intact, like with the testing and all that. So I wasn't worried about that. I think I was worried about the commitment. Like, should I really do this or shouldn't I?
Mm-hmm.
So I gave that some thought, but the distance didn't really bother me at all.
Okay, good. So what would your one piece of advice be to people who are looking into this, who maybe even have the same exact symptoms as you? What would you tell them if they're looking into this? Maybe they're a little skeptical about it.
I think it's definitely worth it, for the testing and 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 everyone's so different. So I think the testing really helps in the sense that even with all the results that came back, I don't know what the exact one thing was that fixed it, but I have a pretty good indication. So just having that a much better understanding of myself is completely worth it.
Great. Great. Yeah, actually, you brought up a really good point is people are always looking for the one thing, and it's never one thing, right?
Yeah.
It's always all those triggers we talked about, the anemia, the blood sugar, the gastrointestinal, the stealth infections. It's always a combination of things. And it may be one thing that kind of took it over the edge, but those other protocols we did prior to that were critical for that to happen.
Yeah. Yeah, and just that focus, if you're not working with someone, even if I had the test results on my own, I don't know that I would able to stay that focused, because there are so many like health emails and everyone's telling you this or that and do this. So I was, you start to get pulled because you think that maybe that's the right thing to do, but really it's so unique to each individual.
Yeah, it really is. And that's what we do is we individualize everyone's protocol. Okay. Mm-hmm. Wonderful. Thank you so much for doing this and congratulations. Sure. It's so awesome. Good job.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, have a good day.